The E-Liter is a unique weapon in Splatoon. Being the longest ranged weapon, it's easy to think it's the most safe weapon in the game. How can you possibly be splatted at such a long range? It uses the most ink and has the longest charge time of any charger. This makes it harder to patrol its long range, and a shot that doesn't connect is far more damaging to a leader than a Splat Charger because there's significant downtime where the other team doesn't have to worry about the leader splatting it as it charges up and refills ink. So how could such a flawed weapon become top tier, and how did such a long range weapon end up at the bottom of the barrel? The E-Liter 3K was Splatoon's longest ranged weapon. Featuring Burst Bomb and Echolocator, its kit existed to make up for and enhance the main weapon. Burst Bomb is practically a main weapon in and of itself, and it can fight off attackers from a short range. Echolocator is able to track the enemy team to more effectively control your area. Its max damage without a full charge is 80, which should combo with a Burst Bomb, but everything in Splatoon is pretty powerful and full of combo potential, so this wasn't too unique. Unlike the other weapons though, the E-Liter 3K was able to fully utilize damage up in a terrifying way, and became one of the most used, hated, and best weapons at the same time. Damage up made it possible to splat with a partial charge and make burst bombs do more damage, leading to easier combos and Bamboozler-like gameplay. It was something that Captain Cuttlefish could have only dreamed of, but lo and behold, it was here. The menace to Inkling Life wasn't without any attempts at nerfing by Nintendo. However, most nerfs would be entirely non-functional. Nintendo changed the maximum partial charge damage with damage up from 120 to 100, which changed absolutely nothing because Inklings only have 100 HP. Then they would decrease the partial charge range by 20%, swim speed by 10%, and special gauge loss by 10%. This is a more effective patch, but it did little to change the E-Liter's top tier status. The E-Liter is a perfect example of how not to do damage up. Nintendo's Liter main power-up would take note, and while it came with many flaws, would generally not repeat the E-Liter's mistakes. Come Splatoon 2, the E-Liter 3K was overhauled and replaced with the E-Liter 4K. The 3K was really just that poorly designed of a weapon. While it got the range debuff removed when it's not fully charged, the total range is decreased by 15%, and the maximum damage without a full charge is decreased to 80. This made it more balanced and well designed, but now putting it in the running to lose this position is a good weapon. One of the greatest threats to the E-Liter is Splatoon 2's speed increase. The E-Liter is a really slow weapon, and with a faster game it had a harder time fitting in. Furthermore, aiming gets significantly harder when your targets are moving faster. It wouldn't be too bad throughout much of the game, but many things eclipsed it as a backliner, including Charger, Explosher, and Firefin. Unfortunately, the custom jet squelch would become dominant by the end of the game, killing the E-Liter. And this brings up one of the biggest nerfs to E-Liter: the mere existence of Missiles and Stingray. As E-Liter is a slow weapon, Missiles destroy it. It has to completely stop what it was doing, remember a full charge takes a long time, move out of the way for up to 5 seconds, repaint, and go back to what it was doing. Missiles take E-Liter out for an incredible amount of time, and it takes an already mediocre weapon and it punches it into the ground. In the time it takes to readjust and return to sniping, there's a good chance that Missiles will already be charged again and the cycle will repeat itself. Stingray is able to just directly target it from across the map, and with it being slower, it's harder to outrun and more attention and effort has to be put into dodging it. In the end, Splatoon 2 would treat the new E-Liter very harshly and it was generally forgotten about. Some people banned it, but few influential people were pushing it as a weapon to use commonly in a competitive setting. It maybe needed a few buffs and better game design, but few were too unhappy with the way things were. Splatoon 3 would radically change E-Liter, and old memories were creeping back. Firstly, Stingray was removed in favor of Killer Whale, which is harder to hit charges with and displace them less. The base points for special was also increased to 200, and Killer Whale had a cooldown time so they couldn't be spammed. The most exciting change was with Missiles. The points for special change decreased the amount of Missiles released, and few weapons had Missiles as their special. Less missiles meant that E-Liter users could finally handle the weapon seriously without worrying about and dealing with the consequences of Missiles and Stingray. E-Liter itself got a very good kit featuring Inkmine and Wavebreaker. Ink Mine is standard for the E-Leader, coming with every game. It is a way for the slow E-Leader to get a warning on approaching enemies and deal damage to help with the ensuing fight. Wavebreaker is phenomenal, as the ability to track the enemy team is especially useful on a long-range charger, and it can be used as a meat shield to protect from shots. With these changes, the E-Leader became a fun weapon used in competitive once more, and people were generally happy. Nintendo, of course, had to ruin this one simple but horrible change. The map design in Splatoon 3 features very few obstacles in the way of anchor weapons. It's a game design nightmare for many reasons, but one of its effects is artificially making the E-Leader good, and not in a fun way. At least when it's an outright good weapon, that can be accepted, but when design flaws are the reasons for the successful weapon, that's when it becomes frustrating. This isn't a cause for alarm though. Certain maps are far better than others for E-Leaders, and E-Leaders still suffer from some problems. Namely, Inklings have gotten even faster, making them even harder to hit and making it easier to rush leaders down. Patches also nerfed the E-Leader, for it now is a 210-point special. Nintendo hasn't touched it since and isn't as oppressive as before, but it is still a good weapon. Overall, the E-Leader is in a fantastic state in Splatoon 3, the future for it looks bright. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and thank you all so much for watching.